documentary doctor movement, information entertainment for improvement. The documentary doctor movement, information entertainment for improvement. Bite-sized for your eyes. Bite-sized, no lies.
What's up, patients, and welcome back to another episode of the Doc Docs. I'm your host, Doc Hawk, back at it again with the purple shades. And today, we're going to be diving in to something very special. Drumroll, please. Sensory deprivation, and even more specifically, float centers. And even more specifically, Just Float, the largest float center in the world. So let's take a step back. What is sensory deprivation, or perceptual isolation, or restricted environmental stimulation therapy? It's the deliberate removal or reduction of stimuli from one or more of the senses. In layman's terms, if I cover my eyes, I'm deprived of my sight. If I cover my ears, I'm deprived of my hearing. Take that to the next level, and profound things can start to happen. For years, people have experimented with different levels of sensory deprivation. From the very primitive chamber rest, where you lie in a light and soundproof room for up to 24 hours, or what we're gonna be talking about, flotation rest, where you effortlessly float in a tub of water and Epsom salt in a room restricted by all light and sound. This is known as the float room. It was developed in 1954 by a medical practitioner, neuropsychiatrist, John C. Lilly. He wanted to figure out if the brain's energy was dependent on external factors. If all external stimuli were cut off to the brain, would the brain go to sleep? The temperature of the air in the water is actually the same temperature as your body internally. So it allows natural heat generation to escape from your body without muscles having to raise your body temperature. The floating posture allows all muscles to relax. And even blood flow is better because the water pressure on your skin is actually lower than your blood pressure. When you're in this desired state in the tank, there's actually a transition from alpha and beta waves, which are emitted when we're consciously alert, to theta waves, which occur right before you go to sleep, and that groggy state right when you wake up. Some use this extended theta state to enhance creativity and problem solving. This would be considered active float, as opposed to the passive float where the objective is to clear your mind. I had the extreme pleasure of interviewing Jim Hefner, the visionary and owner of Just Float in Pasadena, California. Take it away, Jim.
My name is Jim Hefner, and I am the co-owner and visionary of Just Float here in Pasadena. We are the world's largest float therapy center. We opened October 1st of last year, and now we're not only the largest float center in the world, we're also the busiest. They sort of became a little bit popular in the 70s and 80s, went away at the end of the 80s, and now within the last 5 years they're definitely back. And number of float centers is blown up all over the country. The thing that gets reported back to us most reliably is that people, when they're done floating, are very calm and they're very relaxed. They're very sort of open. This general feeling of well-being that they get. They also tend to have amazing night's sleep for at least the next couple of nights. And kind of the longer term benefit umbrella thing is that because floating is this really sensory reduced and very stress reducing activity, by reducing stress in your life and sort of on your body and on your mind, it tends to help with just about everything that would have been made worse by stress. So whether it's your blood pressure or your heart rate or heart disease or anxieties. You're not very aware of the environment around you because of how it's all set up, but your body awareness actually can become very acute, where you feel your organs moving, and certainly hearing your heart rate is very, very simple, but even hearing your own digestion and how things are moving around and your own heartbeat, sometimes you'll hear it through my carotid arteries. I can hear actually the blood flowing. It's pretty profound. I had my first float just a bit over 3 years ago, and through Joe Rogan had heard about it actually a few years before that even. It took me a while to find somewhere to do it. Went down, had my first float experience, and stepped out of the float tank and was completely convinced that this would be something that people should have access to. And quite frankly, I was very surprised that it wasn't more available once I found out or discovered how powerful that it was and what it felt like. That bit of peace and calm is really unavailable elsewhere. My professional background, I'm a serial entrepreneur, an MBA, and I've owned and sort of created lots of different businesses. But equally sort of compelling or powerful for me, I've been an adventure athlete my whole life, rock climbing and surfing and racing mountain bikes and ski racing and all these sort of what people would kind of consider high-risk activities, which I don't really see them that way. I just take a great deal of joy in them. When I'm doing them well, all are very much what people are very hot on now, the term flow state, and that is absent of distraction. And that could very well be why I fell in love with floating so quickly, because it too is absent of distraction. Of course, it's without action, and the other one is all action, so it's a very unique parallel. Floating is very complementary to yoga and to meditation, and the general idea is sort of clear of thought, or in between your thoughts. And that idea of being in between your thoughts, the sort of spiritual people have been talking about this for millennia, is that is your consciousness, or that is your divinity. We're very firmly in the wellness space, and we really believe that all these things kind of work together to help you feel whole and healthy and balanced. Certainly there was some research that has been done back in the 90s. The real wave of research is being done right now in Tulsa, Oklahoma by our friend Dr. Justin Feinstein, who's actually also a neuropsychologist did his postdoc here at Caltech.
The research needs to be done in order to show that this is indeed an effective treatment for a variety of different conditions that deal with anxiety as its ultimate root.
And specifically looking at floating, and we'll be doing anxiety studies and PTSD and a whole bunch of other very interesting things. There's certainly discussion of what you can do to enhance the float experience. Certainly we're pretty purist around here. Though we are developing guided meditation for the tank, we think that will be very interesting, very helpful to help guide people into that calm, quiet bit. I'm talking to a couple of friends that are very heavy in the VR world, and so that is a possibility going forward. I'm not really sure how it's going to fit, but certainly it will be fun and entertaining. My advice for a first-time floater that would sort of be coming in here to do this, or any other float center for that matter, would be to, of course, have an open mind, but also manage your expectation. By the time you find yourself in a float center, often you will have the expectation of, I'm going to see some really visual, psychedelic, cool thing, or I'm going to find God, or I'm going to find this really magical, mystical place, or whatever, because certainly there's lots of accounts of people doing these sorts of things. But however, entering a float tank with that expectation of something happening to you is precisely what will ruin it for you. The duration of the float and how we arrived at is a really good question. It's primarily trying to maximize the benefit, but also trying to fit it into people's schedule. Since it is an hour of sort of doing nothing, and you have to shower both before and shower after, and of course LA, you have to drive here both ways. If I made it a 2-hour thing, and by the time you did all of that, it would be a 6-hour ordeal. So we try to sort of tighten it up to an hour, where it seems most people would derive a great deal of benefit from that. Certainly when people come to float, we suggest that they're not completely sleep deprived and fall asleep immediately. That certainly does happen, though that's okay. We also have a fair number of insomniacs that come, and they'll come and they'll book like 2 floats back to back. They'll float for like 2.5 hours. To actually get good sleep on purpose tends to sort of reset their clock, where they can actually then go home and then get another good night's sleep. People come in from jet lag, coming in after a big night, sort of all partied out. Yeah, it can be very helpful to sort of reset everything again. The demographic of people that float here are from millennial to early retired, equal parts male, female. We get athletes, we get business people, we get stressed out housewife, consciousness explorer. We pretty much get the entire demographic, and everybody that comes and tries it loves it. So it's regularly $60 for an hour. We have a half-off special. It's $30 to come try it, and I definitely encourage everyone to come check it out. This was Jim with Just Float here in Pasadena, California. Check us out on all the social channels. Our website, of course, justfloat.com, but we're all over Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and we pump out a lot of really great content, so check us out. My name is Jim Hefner, and you're watching the Doc Docs.
All right, guys, this is my boy Eric.
What up?
And we did the float rooms together, and we've done it twice now, which is...
man. Pretty
man,
cool.
I can't wait to do it again, to be quite honest. We did it about a month and a half ago, and then again last week, so What'd you think, man? You liked it?
Same, bro. Same. Just as awesome as it was the first time.
Awesome.
I found it interesting that my experience this time was pretty similar to the first time too, you know. I know you mentioned that yours was completely different.
Way different.
But man, it was just the same colors, patterns, trippy feeling. My senses were extremely heightened.
You said you saw
So
an
a
eye.
red eye. I was like, who is this guy or thing
what
watching
does that
me?
mean? It's got to be like our inner consciousness speaking to us.
Speaking
or
to us
something.
like, I see you. I see
Like, it's
everything
crazy.
you do. I will say that another thing is that it seemed shorter too, so I found that to be quite interesting
Yeah,
also.
I agree with that point.
So
yeah. So my first float was actually pretty similar to yours, and the second float, after doing some research on it, there are different ways you can go about it, and I kind of went about it from the creative standpoint and kind of wanted to see what my brain could like come up with. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but my brain was still racing. Like it wasn't a stress relieving thing. It was more of a creative, like coming up with like different ideas. So there's different ways you can go about it.
I don't know if we asked Jim that, you know, that most people mention that they have like similar experiences all the time, or
We page through and we can even overlay it, the kind of experience book.
Oh,
And
the journal, yeah.
The journal, yeah. And people writing like the craziest stuff.
and what's even cool about that is the people that are actually able to draw out what they were seeing, and it's some of the most crazy,
Bizarre.
patterns and images ever,
But
bro.
it's awesome.
But it's
It's
awesome,
awesome,
man. Yeah, I definitely feels like it has this kind of like stimulatory thing as far as like your senses, and I can hear every
Yeah.
little thing. It was like
Yeah.
I was like Superman almost.
It's that Daredevil thing.
yeah.
Like if you don't have your sight, your hearing's like more
Man.
acute. At least try it once.
At least. You know, that's my motto, bro.
And
Just try it.
for us, I think that kind of hooked us. Two
No
thumbs up.
negatives.
2 thumbs up.
On my toe.
We just want to say a huge thank you to Jim Hefner.
Thanks, Jim.
For,
You're awesome, man.
You know, letting us talk with him, like some really
Great
interesting
guy.
stuff. Like great guy. He really knows, you know, what he wants to do with this, and it's all about helping people and in different ways too. So that's awesome to hear, and the more people that know about this, the better. This like makes people's lives better,
makes
and
so
that's what
much
we're all
better, man.
about. At the Doc. So take a moment to subscribe if you like our videos and you want to get notified for future videos. Comment, man, good, bad, you know, what we can improve. My name's Takeem. This is Eric. We're your documentary doctors for the day.
We're out.
We'll catch you later.